Hi everyone, my name's Justin, and this is my Module 1 personal introduction presentation for EDL 853. To start off with, I'm going to share a little bit about my educational journey. I graduated in 2016 with my bachelor's in elementary education with an emphasis in mathematics from Kansas State University. After college, I decided to move to Las Vegas, Nevada, where I began teaching for the Clark County School District. While I was in Clark County, I taught fifth grade for 2 years, and then I taught 2 years of double accelerated middle school math. As a result of COVID, I did decide to move back to Kansas to be closer with my family. Once I moved back, I accepted a third grade teaching position in Derby, Kansas, in the Derby Public School District at an elementary school called Tanglewood Elementary. We're actually a really unique elementary school. We are an open concept school, which means all of the third graders are learning in one room at the same time. So that's been a really unique experience that I've truly enjoyed. Here are a few of my interests and hobbies. Um, what is most important to me in life is my family and my friends. This is a picture of my family here. I have two brothers, an older and a younger brother, and then four nephews. Below, these are my two baby bulldogs. This is my youngest, Gus, and my oldest, Otis. This is a picture of my fiance and our two bulldogs. One thing we love to do is we love to travel. So this is a picture of us in Las Vegas on Mount Charleston. Below is a picture of my students. I love being a teacher. I could not imagine myself doing anything else outside of education. Something else about me is I love to learn. I enjoy learning new things and just um, am just a learner. Below these are a picture of uh, my two teammates um, that I teach third grade with at Tanglewood. Absolutely love them. Something else that I enjoy to do is I love to cook. And like I said before, I love traveling and seeing the world. Now I'll share some of the information from the for our assignment. The first question that was asked is, as a school principal, as a school leader, it's our expectation or our kind of responsibility to make sure that the culture in our school is inclusive. So the question was, what is the school leader's role in maintaining this culture? So I jotted down some bullet points. Some were from my own kind of feelings, and I also gathered some things from the resources that were provided. And one of the first things that was shared was the video where it talked about creating equity of access to knowledge, which to me meant just reducing barriers to access education. And one of the quotes I think the principal shared was, not everyone does the same work or does the work the same way, and that doesn't mean that one is right and one is wrong. And it also talked about those best practices of making sure that we raise every student beyond their own expectations. And then also, as a building principal, making sure that you're providing time for teachers to collaborate to find solutions and using that culture to support that achievement. And then also creating a welcoming environment, building positive relationships with all stakeholders, gaining input from diverse community members, also being mindful of the presence in the school building. And then the last part was, what do you do if it doesn't exist? Well, in my opinion, if it doesn't exist, we need to focus on building a community by having staff members create connections amongst each other and with students. Um, in my opinion, making the school a place where students and teachers want to be, feel safe and valued. And then one of the articles said, if there is an issue, address it and fix it. So what do you do if it doesn't exist? Address the issue and fix it. The next question was, what support can a school leader provide to encourage advocacy? So modeling appropriate listening skills, take away tasks or responsibilities from teachers that consume time that can be used to build relationships with students, host weekly lunch buddy groups for students just to lend that listening ears. One thing that our school does that I'm really happy about that we started this year is students who are needing that extra emotional support are meeting with our social worker and our principals once a week through a lunch buddy group, which has been great for those students. Um, Also, just creating positions such as social workers, school counselors, behavioral specialists to make sure that those supports are in place, making social emotional learning a priority in the classroom. One thing that I think has done great for my classroom culture is having a morning meeting where we really focus on social emotional learning, embedding character education lessons throughout the school year. I've seen and heard where schools each month focus on a different pillar of character, creating flexible learning environments and opportunities for all students. What plans and strategies can be implemented to ensure the equitable treatment of students and or staff in an inclusive culture? So, in one of the articles, it listed 7 practices, which was academic support, making sure that flexible pacing, reading specialists, and tutoring were great kind of ideas to provide academic support. Prepared teachers. If teachers aren't prepared to meet the students' needs, then they need to be trained through professional learning opportunities. And then adopting curriculum that addresses concepts like privilege, oppression, global power structures, and racisms, integrate the student bodies, adjust ranking calculations. Those to me were a little unique ideas since I teach elementary and I'm in an elementary classroom, but I could see how that would fit in a high school or middle school setting. Create a respectful school community. What I think was great about that was just not necessarily great, but something to be mindful of is to hire staff that reflects the diversity of the school community. Students want to see themselves as teachers and see how they are represented and also heard. And then create spaces for discussions, environments where students can openly discuss thoughts and feelings. And then the last thing I'll talk about is what steps can the school leader take to change negative assumptions that affect teaching and learning in an inclusive culture. So, to start off with, the steps that they should take is first by create a culture that is accepting of all. One of the articles talked about being open minded and um, welcoming of creativity and diversity. And that's hard for some, so provide trainings and staff development opportunities to help them better understand those challenging topics. Also, just incorporate community building activities and opportunities throughout the school year to develop a sense of community and belonging. A lot of times, those that maybe feel resistant to the change or feel resistant to acceptance is just because they have fear of their own or they are just unaware or need opportunities to build those connections and relationships. And then lastly, utilize a curriculum that addresses issues such as diversity, inclusion, and equitability. In my opinion, these are the steps that one should take to um, address those negative assumptions. Lastly, this is my references slide.